was the emergency. And many months after that, because there was a lot of ELIF, these technologies institutes, and we decided to make centers next to every of these institutes. And this is how ELIF was born. And as a designer that is also a little bit sensitive to this sustainable aspect of things and sustainable design, and also designing for a foundation that is that should be considering the needs, and the most important thing about that is to build sustainable hubs and to make them operate and be as economically efficient as less carbon print efficient as possible. So we designed ELIF, and the mission was to design 10 centers in different cities, and these cities were the poorest regions in Tunisia, where there are these technology institutes, and where it was important for us to complete the learning of these students with these centers that will be open 24 hours 7. When their people can go and complete the learning, and where they can go and tell whatever ideas they have to in order to open a new business. If they have a lack, I don't know, in any foreign language, English, French, coding, whatever they will need to complete in order to be able to find jobs. So the mission was to design 10 different centers in these cities, and the challenge was that they will need to be different. They will need to be different because it's a fact. The lands will be different, the urbanism rules will be different, and the context will be different. But they should have the same identity. We wanted at Fondation Tunisie to have one mark of us everywhere where we will be building our centers. And we wanted them to be different, but we wanted them to have the same identity. So I thought about a very simple things. If you see the kids in the schools, they will be wearing the same uniform, but they will be very different. So the idea was to make ELIF centers wearing one same uniform, a dress that will cover the building, and that will be the same from outside, different from the inside. And that dress, it was like a coincidence that the dress that we wanted to give them as an identity was also a double skin, something that they will be covering the building and will be protecting them from heat, extreme heat and extreme cold. And also the poorest regions in Tunisia are the regions in the half up. It's like the coldest regions in winter and the hottest regions in the summer. So it was like a very good coincidence, because we could like protect this building with a double skin that will protect them from being very hot or very cold during the seasons, and that will be helping us to take out the air that was coming through these buildings, and also to reduce our consumptions in energy and in heating and AC, etc. Also, something else, when you design a project that is supposed to be economically like less, it's not supposed to be very expensive, because we're designing projects that will be modern, etc. But we have to be able to reduce our costs. So the idea was to design a very normal building with the smallest windows that we could do, to reduce our use of glass, to reduce our use of AC, etc. And then what we did is that we covered that ugly building with something that is a dress, and that's the dress. So this dress will be like giving identity to our buildings. It will be protecting them from heat. It will be protecting them from cold. It will be also hiding whatever ugly architecture we did. And this is how Elif was born. So the second skin is like the double skin is like something we got inspired from what's happening inside the learning. So it's like alphabets, symbols, etc. It has some logo of the foundation in it. And the idea is that this double skin will be also aesthetically good, and it will create a landmark, so people will recognize our building as something new and different. And trust me, around that area, it became a landmark. This is Elif Siliana. It's our very first building, our first born from this emergency that happened on a Saturday morning. These are the interiors. So the interiors, they are designed in a way that there is one axis. It's very easy to control the axes. It's very easy to see where people are going, and it's very easy for the people in the building to be polyvalent and do many jobs at the same time. So we don't need someone to take care of security. That person that will be in this area will be also can do other tasks where people can come in and out of the building without problems, because we have one access. Also, another thing is like I am talking to you about Elif as if you've been there and you know that forever. So Elif is a center that is having three main different activities happening inside. So it's the learning, it's the cultural activities, and it's also the entrepreneurial and social activities. So we have at the entrance this area, and then we have this multi-purposes room that can be at the same time a room for a conference. On the weekends it can be like a projection for movies, for cultural activities, etc. And we have a lot of open spaces for these for the students to be able to go through the courses, the practical courses, and we have smaller classrooms, and all the rooms were designed to be able to do as much multitasking as possible. This is the second born, and you can see there is not a big difference. We just copy-pasted. And it's Elif in Beja. It's another region in Tunisia, and it's next to the technology school there. And it's the same look and feel, the same everything, and the same functionalities. And we try to make it, well, we learn from our mistakes. So the first one was all white, and the second one we tried to do another colors to give more depth to the facade. Yeah, this is the entrance and the waiting area for the Elif Beja, and you can see it's more or less the same of Siliana. So the twin brothers are here. We're expecting a third one in Kef. It's in another region in Tunisia. We're working now on the final finishing of it. And we are working on a different project that is going to be a brother but not a total twin, because we're going to work on Elif Djerba. And Djerba is an island in Tunisia with a very big heritage, with it's a very different area of Tunisia, and I want you to travel with us and see how is Djerba. Yeah, so Djerba is an island in the south of Tunisia. It is very different because it has a natural difference between all the regions where we will be working on the Elif. It's an island. And it's now fighting for the heritage of UNESCO, because it has a lot of special things you will see in this video, and I'm gonna talk to you about it. So Jerba is a minority refuge. We have a Jew community, we have a Christian community, and even everything in Jerba is like very different. The fact of how they do the master planning, how they operate, how is the buildings. This is like the typical German vernacular style. So this was Jerba, and the mission again was to design another center in Jerba. While the land is different, in Jerba we cannot go more than 12 meters. It's like 3 floors maximum, and we should also respect the vernacular architecture there. We should respect the context there. So that was the mission. The challenge was that we already have Elifs. I don't know if we can say Elifs, but we can have Elifs, okay, everywhere we want, but they should be having the same look and feel and the same functions. And this is why we decided to get inspired from Jerba heritage and from the Jerba techniques of constructions to do an Elif that will be modern with a little bit of a twist, and to make something that will be different but having the same identity of the other ones. In Jerba architecture, what inspired us a lot was the fact that there is this weaving workshop everywhere in the island, and these workshops, they're somewhere where people can go and do the weaving, and it's like a know-how that was herited from generations and generations in Jerba, and it's the only building in the vernacular tradition of Jerba that is having something with an extra value with business. So we wanted to do something that looks like these weaving workshops. These are the weaving workshops. If you walk around Jerba or drive around Jerba, you will see a lot of them everywhere. And from the inside, it's a vault, and people will be inside working days and nights and doing the weaving. So this was the main inspiration of creating our concept, which was like putting a lot of in different shapes and dimensions workshops and interpret them in another way. So, and like playing with logos, Lego, playing, assembly them, and doing them again and again. So this is the master plan of Elif Jerba. It has 3 buildings as having 3 big activities in the Elif. One is for the conference activity, for the meeting area, one is for the learning, and one is for the entrepreneurship. So we also wanted, the German architecture is also very closed, very introverted, and very turned into the interior. So we wanted to create patios, we wanted to create small backyards, small yards, in order to do this, reflect the same atmosphere in another way. So this is how it's gonna look. As you can see, we kept a little bit of our identity. We tried to make it look like a workshop of weaving, but in a modern way, because we do coding, we do technology, and we wanted it to look like the other Elifs. We did not want to make a traditional German style because we wanted also the people going to Elif Jerba to feel they are in the same mood and look and feel of Elif everywhere in Tunisia. So these are some perspective of how do we see the building. Today we already completed all the technical studies of that, and we already are starting the building very soon. This Elif building, like all the Elif buildings that we made, is also trying as much as possible to reduce the use of energy, not to be using a lot of energy. We are collecting water from the rain, as all the Elif that we made. We are trying to make the space as much multifunctional as possible, and we are also adapting our Elif centers, even the learning centers, to make them teach people what is needed for the specific region. What I wanted also to say is that sustainable buildings are about panels, big panels, big investment to make the building as sustainable as possible. So solar panels, collecting rainwater, and reducing the use of energy, and all this is a lot of cost of money. But it's also about big steps that we can do in order to make our buildings sustainable. And also think about how can we be sustainable in the small details, like stopping to email each other and the person that is in the next office, stop reducing the use of potable water and the unnecessary stuff, like toilets, etc. And it's also about thinking of the well-being of the people using the building, the well-being of the people making the building, making furniture for the building. All of these is very important to think of our footprint while designing and occupying and operating a sustainable building. Sure.
Okay, thank you, Duha. Thank you for this very good presentation. And I know there are some technical issues with our African Crossroad teams, but I hope that you can hear us. We're using currently our phone, my phone, to stream this. So I'm going to open the floor to questions. I thank you, Duha, for reminding us that sustainability is not only about building friendly, but it's also about, creating opportunities for others. It's about the sustainability of the spaces and the use of the spaces within the building. And as you mentioned, the Elif building became some sort of landmark, a mecca in the poor area where they're implemented. Anyways, so I'll stop talking. And if you have any questions, so we're open to have them. If people online have any questions, although we're more than happy to answer. So please feel free to ask any questions. There are no stupid questions. We don't bite. No? Yes?
I can speak louder.
You can speak loud. No, but they cannot hear you.
Okay. I'm just wondering, from the perspective of sourcing the material to build a sustainable architecture, a sustainable building, how difficult was it or challenging in Tunisia to source the material, or is that something sourced? Did you have to import material from outside of Tunisia, for example, or is that a challenge?
Okay. In Tunisia, we don't import a lot of things, and if they are not here, but we do import the things that are not in Tunisia. So in Tunisia, if we can manufacture a pen, we will do that. But if we don't have the wood, it's gonna be difficult. So that's what's happening with buildings. As much as we can, we work with locally sourced materials. But if you want your building to look like a building in San Francisco and to be having the latest technologies and to be having this neat look and feel, sometimes you should bring other stuff from somewhere else. So what we do, our general policy and my general opinion is that we work with whatever we have, giving it a modern twist, trying as much as we can to make it look as modern as we want to be. I'm not against any traditional look and feel of the building, but this was the direction we wanted to have. This we wanted to have the people in Siliana, in Beja, in all the regions step in our building and feel like they are in London, San Francisco, or in Paris, or in Tunis. So that was the direction since the beginning. We could do very nice and very effective and very functional buildings using the same techniques of the regions. I don't think that all the regions have like specific architecture, but or specific heritage. But that was not the direction. The direction was to make it look very, very international, to make people feel at ease when they will be having jobs somewhere outside of their region. We did not want to be doing something that looks like the regions, except for Djerba, because Djerba is filing for UNESCO heritage, and Djerba is a very, very a different context, and we wanted to respect that, and we have to respect that. For the rest, no.
You talked about the reduction of water usage. So did you think about, for example, a system that, I don't know, like there is, I was like hearing a lot of systems that can, for example, recycle the water within the building. So did you think about something like that? And also it's important, I think, to communicate this, because even in your house, or even people in their houses, or even their industries can, as a model there, you know?
We are recycling water. We are using the water of the rain for the gardens, for the WCs, and we are recycling water in our buildings. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what we are doing. We're trying our best. As I told you, it's very expensive to install this kind of practice, and it's very expensive to maintain them. So we're trying to do what we can do at our level to make this building as sustainable as we can. No, maintaining things is a part of our design process. So before we draw a line and before to make a decision, we also think of that, because it's very important. And we also think of how someone from the region can fix that problem. We have our teams in every ELIF that are responsible of many other things, administrations, etc., because we're trying to reduce our effective as possible. But yeah, of course, we do think of the maintenance as a step just after design, because it's important for us to keep this easy, handy, and that people can do it in the site of ELIF, not be like coming from Tunis to fix the problem. For the big problems, we have a team in Tunis that will be going to the regions. But at smaller scope, it's easy. It's easy for us. It's very important, and we thought of that because also we are a foundation. So we also think a lot about how we can be sustainable financially to be able to maintain these centers in a good shape for as long as possible.
That's a good question. I want to add. I'm not going to talk about sustainability now. I'm going to talk about climate justice, because climate justice is also about helping minorities. So the people running the centers are unemployed people that we hire locally from the area, and we train them. So for technical issue, we train them. For even running the center, we train them. So the idea is also to create employment in the region. And I thought this, and I'm sure this was your question, Afef. Thank you. So yes, it's not only about sustainability, it's also about creating jobs, and also about helping minorities and people, jobless people in the area. And this is our primary objective. And this is why we asked, or we tried to go and locate the centers within the poorest area of Tunisia. We took like the 10 regions or governors that have the lower GDP, and then this is where we decided to go. Any questions? No? Yes? From the audience? Africa? Kenya, where are you? Senegal?
Oh, so many. About how to design. Okay. Okay. So I think that we should not be ashamed. Okay. I think that we should not be ashamed of very small steps. I think that not printing that email. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Okay, not printing that email, not printing that extra presentation is also a sustainable step. Not like thinking of where we are sourcing our materials, where we are sourcing the paper in the office, where we are buying our pens. It's also very important in a world where people don't ask about that. A lot of studies show that Generation Z is very aware of sustainability, but also a lot of studies show that they are the buyers of the most polluting brands, for example. So let's be honest with ourselves about sustainability. That's the very important tip that I can give to anyone running a hub that wanted to be sustainable, that we should ask ourselves the right questions. Why I'm buying this, and is it that the fact that it's very cheap that I'm buying that? Am I thinking of the welfare of the people? Am I thinking of the children maybe that were employed doing that? And so it's as I always want to think that it's very easy to say, yeah, I want that to be sustainable, but it's also easy to not to be ashamed of doing very small steps, because that's what will help the people and the whole ecosystem to do different things differently. Okay. Other.
So you're saying it's a way of life, it's a philosophy before also like building an eco-friendly building.
Yeah, it's a way of life, and it's also asking the right questions, because it's very nice to say, yeah, the building is sustainable, we're doing a sustainable business, we're doing that in a sustainable way, but we should ask ourselves the right questions, because it's the limit between greenwashing and sustainability is very thin, and we should do that the right way, and doing that from a very honest perspective, because the big announcement and the sustainable labels are good, but they are not always efficient. They are not always delivering what was promised.
Any other questions? No?
In Africa?
Yeah.
Sure. See you soon. Bye.
I'm gonna ask in English. Okay. So you choose the 10 poorest region to yes.
In them with the Technology Institute.
Okay. Because I'm gonna ask about Djerba. Why not? Why not in Medellin? In Medellin city. That's why.
The IZ in Djerba has 3,000. It's not because of the CEO, the prestige. It was just because of statistics.